Yes!
Aladdin on Genesis!
Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of The Completionist, where apparently stabbing people has absolutely no consequences whatsoever.
Hey Gerard, how's it going?
Ah! What? Oops. Assassin's Creed. Ubisoft definitely aimed to impress with this game, and with Watch Dogs coming out this week, I figured, hey, let's not give that game any attention, let's focus on the first of many games in a very long and pretty drawn-out series.
But Batman, isn't Assassin's Creed a metaphor for the right-wing agenda scandal that deals with the madness known as the Tea Party, which easily reflects the horrible amount of political problems we have in this country, especially when it refers to, but not limited to, gun control, healthcare, gay marriage, and the legalization of marijuana?
This is a video game review show. Why are we talking about politics?
You know, no joke. Somebody put that in the comments section. I just thought it was funny.
But this is a video game review show, Greg. We have no opinion. You know what? All right.
Remember, we only make fun of you when it really counts.
Assassin's Creed can easily be described as The Matrix meets Minority Report in terms of visual style and some plot-driven devices. As the game begins, we control Altair in what is probably one of the most tedious tutorials in gaming history.
You know, that's kind of a trend with these newer games, right? These companies put a lot of time into programming these games to the point where they've made playing them fairly complicated.
Assassin's Creed does have a bit of a slow start, and its tutorial is responsible for its pacing, but luckily, the story is intriguing. Anyways, we control Altair in the time of the Third Crusade. What's really cool about Assassin's Creed is that the historical background and research that the game's foundation stands on is as close to accurate as a game can get.
Look, Gerard, I know you said this takes place during the Crusade, but why do I keep seeing glitches like a computer coming in and out all over the place? There's also a lady with a creepy voice. Is this Portal?
That's where the Matrix element of the story comes in. See, none of what we're seeing or playing is real. It just so happens that we are playing a man named Desmond Miles, a bartender who's been kidnapped by a technologically advanced research company known as Abstergo. They're holding Desmond hostage because he's related to Altair, and they're using Desmond as a bank of information to plug into their machine known as the Animus.
Animaniacs?
It's time for Animaniacs, and we're zany to the max. So just sit back and relax, you'll laugh when you can laugh. We're Animaniacs.
Animus, Greg, Animus.
Oh, but they have baloney in their slacks.
Alright, buddy. The Animaniacs act as a DNA teleporter recording device that lets Desmond travel back through his DNA to relive his ancestors' events. This game pulls a little bit of an Inception before Inception did Inception. We've got two protagonists as well as two antagonists that we have to worry about. Abstergo is trying to find out information on the Piece of Eden, an ancient artifact that is said to grant wishes and great power to whoever possesses it. And during the King's Crusade, an organization of assassins had no choice but to enter the fray to try and stop the madness of the Templar Knights, especially since their goal is to obtain the Piece of Eden known as the Apple of Eden. Our first mission involves Altair acting incredibly careless and costing the lives of a few of his brothers during an important mission to retrieve the Piece of Eden. Regardless of Altair's reactions, he's able to rectify his mistakes, but Al-Mualim, the leader of the assassins, punishes him by taking away all of his weapons and even stabbing him. This sets the stakes up for the rest of the game. Altair must make his way back up to the top of the Assassin's Guild while carrying out the will of his organization.
Let me guess. Kill everyone?
Altair must slay several political figures, generals, and essentially psychopaths of the medieval Holy War, as well as anyone who threatens the people of the nations and any and all threats to the Assassin's Guild. But the common factor they all share is that they are all Templars, and they're all based on real people. Hell, the leader of the Templars is Robert del Sable. Disable, whatever. I'm not a historian. Robert is actually a Templar Knight. give or take a little truth bending with his age and what he actually did. Playing as Desmond, you get moved back and forth from being the historical assassin to being a modern-day prisoner. There's a lot of subtlety in showing what Abstergo is and what they plan to do with the information in Desmond's DNA. Regardless of Abstergo being the overall superseding antagonist, the game's main in-animus antagonist is Robert de Sablé, I don't know his name, and his 8 Templar brethren.
You have chosen wisely.
Greg, we did this last week!
Yeah, fine, whatever, move on.
Assassin's Creed, from the time it was announced to when the game actually hit the shelves, had a lot of hype attached to it. Graphically, it was supposed to be the third-party next-gen title that would push the Xbox 360 and the PS3 to their limits. Does it still hold up many years later? I think so, but the game definitely shows its age when you compare it to the later entries in the game series. I mean, there was at least a 2-year time gap before we saw Assassin's Creed 2, but since then, there's been a new Assassin's Creed game nearly every single year.
Happy New Assassin's Year, everybody! Let's kill everyone and be pirates this time!
The most impressive thing about Assassin's Creed's presentation is the fact that everything is loaded as one unit. One gigantic map that, once loaded, presents you with one rule. If it's there, you can climb it and touch it. Well, not everything, but most things. This single-handedly convinced me to seek out this game. There's nothing more fulfilling than scaling a big building, using the Eagle Vision to acquire the area's visual layout, and then jump down and flip into the hay. You can't help but scream, "Mind freak!" when thinking of Chris Angel, that creepy magician. So creepy. The AIs and NPCs were super impressive as well, considering how many bodies were on the screen at once. However, that doesn't mean that the AI was the most intelligent or advanced. The voice acting is pretty solid across the board, with the exception of the choice for Altair's normal tone of voice. It's the medieval times of the Middle East, and this guy has an American dialect. People have argued that it's because of the fact that Desmond was actually controlling Altair in the early phases of the Animus, but to me, it seemed a bit lazy. But it gets even weirder as they hired actor Philip Shabazz, an American-Iranian voice actor who is notorious for playing Arab-like terrorist characters on shows such as 24. I mean, I don't know, do I sound crazy? I don't hear a dialect.
Very well, here's what I know. He traffics in human lives, kidnapping Jerusalem's citizens and selling them into slavery. His base is a warehouse located inside the Barbican, north of here. As we speak, he prepares a caravan for travel.
Judging by your headshot and his, you guys must be brothers!
Greg!
Brotherhood! I get it! It's a game! Once again, let's move on, Greg.
There's a lot to do in Assassin's Creed that, for lack of a better word or so, either sucks or is really freaking awesome. Let's get the sucky part out of the way. The game kind of pulls a Metroid or God of War 2, where you start off very powerful and then quickly get demoted. I don't mind this so much because it makes sense for the plot, but the early phases of building up your reputation again is incredibly slow. Starting off with a horrible sword and then slowly working your way to gain your hidden blade takes the wind out of the game's sails early on. The hidden blade is an insanely fun mechanic. It is a hidden death blade surprise of fun that no one ever sees coming, and there's something so rewarding about getting that kill with it. You can slowly get someone from behind, revealing the blade from the wrist and stabbing them in the head or throat. The most fun from this is when someone runs away mid-fight and you chase them down and stab them. So rewarding.
Wow, this game is pretty desensitizing, isn't it? Or maybe it's the last 26 years of playing violent video games non-stop. I've stopped caring.
The main objective in terms of real-time responsibilities lies in quite a few areas. You travel between Damascus, Masyaf, Jerusalem, Kingdom, and Acre, and within your journey of the Hunt of the Nine Templars, when you enter each area, you'll want to climb to the highest point with the Eagle Perch. When you get to the top, you can synchronize with the data, and you'll be given more access to the map. So naturally, you'll have to do this dozens of times in every single area. Unfortunately, for you completionists like me out there, you'll have to play the story as it commands you to, so you can't really explore all of, let's say, Jerusalem in one go, because we need to come back to it at a later time. Lots of backtracking, and not quite as open world as we imagined. The combat is repetitive, but there are 2 fighting styles that you can choose between. Treat it like an open world sneak game it was designed to be by stealth assassinating everyone, or go swords a-swinging and kill everyone in sight. It's fun for the first few hours of the game, but nothing really changes. And as you get stronger with weapons and items, the combat unfortunately does not evolve.
You know what makes the game go by a little faster? Making it seem like the beginning of Aladdin!
Gotta keep. 1 jump ahead of the rooftop, 1 swing ahead of the sword. I stab straight up in the spinal cord, and that's all the time. 1 jump into the haystack, that's far, and that's no joke. These guys will bleed out like an egg yolk.
Riff raff! Street rat!
Assassin!
Take that!
Just a little stab, guys.
Fail at combat, chase him down, guys!
I can take a hint, gotta face the facts. My friends are dudes in hoods.
Who?
When you're on a task to assassinate a main story Templar, the options swing wide open in terms of your approach, but ultimately, it always ends up taking you out of the Animus and back in control of Desmond. From a story perspective, this is kind of rad, but from the gameplay side of things, it tends to break up the action quite a bit, and when you jump back into the Animus, it takes some time to travel to your next mission. So all in all, the pacing of the story dramatically affects the gameplay. Another thing this game suffers from is the lack of boss engagement. The bosses feel no different than any other guard or civilian. There's not really a jump in difficulty for any of these fights. There's dozens of side missions that range from eavesdropping to get information, flag collecting, stealing, or beat the crap out of a social figure promoting evil words so that you can get more information. You'll notice that upon completing these side missions, your DNA meter, which acts as your progress bar for each chapter of the story, will get filled in. You only need to do a few of these side quests, but doing all of them on every chapter will give you full synchronization. Also, doing side quests give you points towards making your life bar bigger. But there's more. There are more things to do. Other than these side missions, so many more things to do. Why do we need to do so many things, Greg? I don't want to... What is the point in doing all of these things, Greg?
Uh-oh, here we go. Commence angry video game jihad rant.
Look, I'm a nice guy, I mean well, I complete games, it's a good time, we have a couple of laughs, all that stuff, but there's something that irks me a little bit when it comes to Assassin's Creed. The side questing gets very tedious. Every map and area has free roaming flags that you can collect, but these flags are meaningless. There's no point in collecting these things. They go towards getting achievements, sure, but there's no actual benefit in getting those flags. And before you all roast me with, but Bidman, just because you don't get something from it doesn't mean it's bad, I disagree wholeheartedly, because if you're going to have a pointless collectathon, at least have it pertain to something important, like advancing in the story. The second frustrating thing to deal with are the Templars. Now, killing the Templars is actually challenging and fun, and they're all over the place. You'll get attacked when you least expect it.
Well then, that's the problem?
The problem is, if you get flags and kill Templars in a close proximity, you risk the chance of bugging a flag or Templar, which happened to me twice. This easily has to be a 10 to 14 hour completion time based game, but because of this stupid game breaking glitch, I was missing 1 Templar and 1 flag on 2 different occasions. Completionists beware, this game is bugged and they do not plan to fix it. After killing the 9th assassin, Robert reveals that he is not the Templar in charge of the master plan and that there's a 10th Templar. And it turns out that Al-Mulim, the leader of the assassins, is the 10th, and he uses the Apple of Eden's power to force all of the Assassins Guild to kill whoever is strong-minded just like Altair. The final siege on the guild has begun, and we have to fight Al-Mualim. If only he would just stop. If only he would just stand still for a few seconds and fight me like a man.
See you later. Bye. Ta-ta for now.
Upon Al-Mualim's defeat, Altair gains access to the Apple of Eden, which shows several different points on a big global digital map. Confused? Well, so are we, because in that moment, we are then taken back to control Desmond in the Abstergo building, and all the higher-ups decided, you know what, let's just shut it down and get rid of Desmond. And you know what happens after that? Everyone leaves. Everyone we've been talking to this whole time is gone. We are locked in this room. We're stuck.
That's how the game ends?
Yeah. Well, there's also some cryptic writing on the walls of Desmond's room that leads on to a sequel, but as I said, it left us waiting for 2 years. Huh? What's that? Completion bonus? For Assassin's Creed, there isn't one. Oh, okay, yeah, I guess technically when you beat the game and you replay the missions, you don't get penalized for killing random people and guards, but that's not really a completion bonus. That doesn't count. Assassin's Creed 1 at the time had a lot of hype to it. Graphically, it was revolutionary, but it struggled to pick itself up from time to time. While it was awesome to stab people with the hidden blade and do crazy-ass leaps off of tall buildings, the game unfortunately lacks the ability to go beyond that. And speaking as the completionist, the achievements for the 360 version are very tedious. Making sure that you speak to Kristen Bell's character as much as you can during the Desmond portions can easily be forgotten, and if you actually forget to do that, you have to start your game over. And there's a lot of achievements like that in this game, and this is one of the few games that I highly recommend to not waste your time achievement hunting. In the end, it's better off to just be Aladdin. Just a little step, guys.
Feel it coming, chase him down, guys.
I can take a hint, gotta face the facts. My friends are dudes in hoods.
Who?
Assassin's Creed is a great game for playing as an assassin who must assassinate people for a living and jump around buildings. As much as I had problems with it though, the series only goes up from here, and in my eyes, Assassin's Creed 1 is the worst rendition in the franchise. With that in mind, guys, this game gets my completionist rating of play it or look at it.
Mind freak.
And after you mind freaked off of a tower, be sure to subscribe. Also, don't forget to check out last week's video on Super Mario Strikers Charged by clicking on the left. Or if you missed out on Super Scope Show, our 4th channel in the TOVG lineup, give it a click on the right. Take it away, Jarakadoo.
That's all the time we have for today, guys. So as always, leave your thoughts in the boxes below. This has been The Completionist. I'm Gerard, and I'm probably going to go to jail for killing someone. He's dead. I have a habit of killing my interns. I don't know what it is. Jimmy 1.0 brought him back from the dead, turned him into Skrillex. Like, you know. I don't know, man. I don't know if I can bring this guy back. I don't have the heart. I don't have the heart. Do you have a heart?